Hey guys, welcome to All Time Gaming. I'm Chris.
I'm Jamie.
And I'm Alex, and it's that time of year again, a time where Dota fans around the world come together to bask in the glory of professional players in the biggest esports tournament in the world. Yes, it's the International.
Yay.
And to celebrate Dota's International, as well as to celebrate Valve being Valve, we decided to dig deep and find some Valve facts that'll leave you feeling all sorts of steamy.
That's right, so get ready to question your dedication to Lord Gaben as we take a look at 6 insane facts you simply will not believe about Valve. Although you may just believe them. I mean, who can really tell at this stage? I don't know.
Now guys, Valve didn't just come into being. It started off as a company with surprisingly humble
I'm
beginnings.
surprised by that. I thought that like on the 8th day, God made Valve.
I thought it was divinely brought about as well.
Yeah.
Well guys, you're not far off. It all began with the man, the myth, the digital sale god himself, Gabe Newell. Back in 1980, Lord Gaben was just a fresh-faced young boy studying at Harvard University when he went to visit his brother, who was working for a little new tech startup called Microsoft in Seattle. Now guys, Gabe was there just to visit, but Steve Ballmer said that if he was going to stay there, he was going to work.
What a
Gabe ended up working there for 3 months as a software developer, and he stated that he learned more about development there than he did in the entire time he was at Harvard.
Yeah, thanks, Harvard.
In 1983, he decided to drop out of Harvard and went to work at Microsoft full-time and helping to create the first versions of Windows.
We wouldn't have Windows 3.1 if it wasn't for Lord Gaben himself.
I mean, it's definitely not true, but let's just pretend it is because it makes him even cooler.
Hey.
That's right, the dude helped create the system nearly all PCs use. Oh, and guys, he also helped id in making the PC version of Doom, and he did it for free because it seemed like a fun challenge to him.
I mean, a fun challenge for me is like how many times you can jerk off in a day, but hey, porting Doom to PC, that's cool as well, I guess.
This became known as Doom 95 and became the game that convinced developers that the PC was worth making games for.
Whoa, hold on, I mean,
This was the game, Chris.
It legitimized it.
Before this, it weren't worth it. That's what they're saying.
Exactly. So Gabe is also responsible for the fact that we have PC gaming at all, right guys?
Yes.
That's not a stretch at all.
Wow, so glad that we've got these facts.
After 10 years, Gabe decided to leave Microsoft with his friend Mike Harrington and invest all their money into game development. In 1996, after getting the Quake engine source code from friends at id, the two of them opened the development studio, Valve. You might have heard of it. Then they started hiring developers and online modders to build their studio and begin working on a game in the Quake engine. But by the end of their first game's development, they had changed the engine so much that they decided just to make their own, and they named it the Source Engine. The first game they would release with this engine would be the 1998 narrative-driven first-person horror shooter Half-Life.
I think I've heard of that game.
The game received mass acclaim across the board, and up to 2009 had sold over 10 million copies. Which is surely it's more by now though, right? Anyway, after the success of their first game, the company would only continue to succeed, going on to release hit after hit, and even creating the most successful digital distribution service in the world, Steam. By 2012, the company was worth $3 billion.
Oh!
Oh, damn!
Thank you. And with their success only growing, who knows how much they're worth now? Probably more than 3.
Yeah.
But becoming one of the most successful production and distribution companies in the world didn't change the core values that Valve has. Even now, creativity and freedom are still the main focus for the company, as they believe that true freedom in your work is the key to success.
I also heard that one of their core values is human sacrifice. So,
And having a well-stocked snack bar.
and lots of knives. So you know what? No wonder they're successful.
The company doesn't have one of those fancy pants corporate ladder systems. No, Valve is what's known as a flat organization, where there's not really any sort of chain of command.
Yeah, it's kind of like flat Earth, right? I mean, that's totally a thing.
Totally.
In the Valve offices, everyone is equal. Aside from Gabe, that is. No one is equal to a god, after all.
Yeah.
That would be mad. But look, this is a little weird for a company because it kind of makes people their own bosses, and it allows them to pick and choose what they work on, and how they work on it, and how long it'll take them to do it. So you can see where there might be some issues.
Yeah. Oh, guys, I'm working on Half-Life 3. Oh, okay. Chris, how long do you think that'll take you? Give or take 20 years?
The company explains in their handbook for new employees that the freedom of choice is key to keeping Valve a company bubbling with creative ideas and enthusiastic people. And to make it even better, if you decide to give something a go and mess it up, it's no problem. As they say in the handbook, nobody has ever been fired at Valve for making a mistake.
Yeah, but you know what? Maybe they should, because otherwise we'll never get Half-Life 3.
That's what happened. An intern accidentally deleted all of Half-Life 3. They're like, I can't fire him. He just dragged HL3.exe into the recycle bin, and it's like, oh,
Sounds like heaven, right? No mistakes?
Yeah, I mean, I'm down for that.
Well, sometimes some things are too good to be true. And while for the majority of time Valve is a perfect place to work, others have complained that this system, built on equality, sometimes makes some people more equal than others.
Right.
It's the age-old problem with communism. See, this is the problem.
Yep.
Jerry Ellsworth, a former designer for Valve, compared the structure to being similar to a high school, where some developers have more influence over projects than others, and that there was a clear divide between the popular kids and everyone else. So Valve may not be as full of sunshine and rainbows and unicorns and other fluffy as you might have thought.
I mean, there was even that former employee who went on Twitter a couple of months ago and said that people would wheel their desks over to certain teams, come up with good ideas, get a sneaky little bonus, and then run off before they've even seen if it's implemented or not.
God damn it, bamboozled.
Only after the money.
But guys, Valve is a company that likes to think outside of the box, outside of the Xbox. It's a bad joke, but we'll carry on. Most game companies will hire industry professionals to make their games, and I mean, that's pretty understandable as well, since they have experience in the world of game design. But Valve likes to look a little off the beaten track to find some of their staff, and to great success. For instance, did you know Portal wasn't an original Valve idea? In fact, Valve probably has no original ideas. No, it was originally a student project from a group studying at DigiPen Institute of Technology. The original game, called Narbacular Drop, involved players solving puzzles in hell using a blue and orange portal to assist them in their mission. Sounds kind of familiar, right, guys?
I've seen this before.
Valve saw their work and liked it so much they employed the whole team and got them to use the Portal technology to make the first Portal game.
And then executed them.
I mean, it's possible. I mean, have we heard from these people since?
Where's Narbacular Drop 2?
A similar story goes for Team Fortress 2, where a couple of Australian college students created a new class-based game mode for Quake that they called Team Fortress. As you do. Valve saw the potential in the game, hired the team to port the game to the Source engine, and then let them go to town on making a sequel, which would eventually turn out to be the fantastic cartoony hatfest that is TF2. And then they murdered them to appease Lord Gaben. True story, guys. It's 6 facts, not 6 made-up things.
I think they grind them up like the Matrix and then feed them to all the Valve staff.
That's why Gabe is overweight, is all that fat and blood.
Also, how do you think he keeps his mad knife skills? You gotta carve up something.
So he's going to have to do it soon then.
Yeah.
Otherwise he's going to wither and die.
Yeah.
But guys, the biggest hire of all, and one that would pay off massively for Valve in the future, was that of the now legendary developer IceFrog of Warcraft 3 mod fame, Defense of the Ancients, or as it's more commonly known to you and me, Dota. While working on Team Fortress 2, some of the devs became hooked on the original mod and began wondering if it was possible to make an official version of the game. You know, update it a bit, make it look all nice and sexy. After convincing Gabe that it was a good idea, he contacted IceFrog and hired him on the spot to help make a sequel to that mod. And in 2010, Dota 2 was officially announced, and there was much celebration, like you guys are celebrating right now. There we go. And of course, this pricked Blizzard's ears, because, you know, in their eyes, the Dota name was closely affiliated with Warcraft 3 and the Blizzard name. So in 2012, they took Valve to court over the right to call the game Dota. That's right, they took them to court because of a name for a mod.
And the hundreds of millions of dollars it has made Valve.
So yeah, okay, Valve unsurprisingly won the court case using the sneaky argument that their Dota isn't an acronym for Defense of the Ancients. Instead, it was just the name. It's just Dota. That's what it is, just Dota.
The lowercase OTA give it away.
But you know what, being the good guys that they are, they've allowed Blizzard to keep using the term for their community content. So Blizzard can keep Defense of the Ancients because, you know, you, Blizzard, we're making all the money.
How good of them.
Dota 2 has been available in some shape or form since 2010 and became Valve's most successful game to date, reaching over 1 million concurrent players and becoming the game professionals play at the biggest esports event in the world, the International.
That's right, you guys knew we'd talk about the International at some point. I mean, Chris is in this VO, we couldn't not.
Exactly.
This year marks the 8th tournament for the game, and the first time it will be hosted in the glorious land of Canada, eh?
Oh, Canada, eh?
The event has teams from across the globe come together to battle it out and see who will be crowned the king of Dota. And while it sounds like a pretty niche thing, over 92 million people watched the event last year. That's more than the amount of people in the UK.
That is mental.
And the prize pool is more money than the UK has too. Sad, but true.
Yeah.
In available funds, that is. As it stands, the International 8, or TI-8 as we Dota boys call it, is sitting at over $24 million.
Wowzers!
That's well on its way to being the biggest prize pool in esports history. We're about to change some Asians' lives tonight. Last year's TI-7 is the current holder of the biggest event ever with a whopping 24,787,916 buckaroos.
Hell yeah. That's a lot of nuts!
But how does Valve get all the money for the event? Where's all that sweet prize money coming from?
Prostitution.
Well, there's some of that, yeah. But what about the rest? Do they dig into the bottomless pit of money they have? Oh no. They sell an item in Dota 2 called the International Compendium for a minimum of a whopping $9.99, which allows players to keep track of the event and earn in-game rewards for playing, betting, and guessing the right outcome for matches at the event. So basically gambling.
Yeah, good.
That's where Valve make almost all their money nowadays.
Gambling!
From all the purchases of this item, 25% of the earnings go into the prize pool. Now, if that's only a quarter of the earnings, just think about how much Valve are making from the International alone.
That means 75% just goes into Gaben's pockets.
That means they made $100 million from selling that little compendium.
Hey, and that's before you even consider their main source of income.
Dum dum dum.
Steam! Steam! Powers engines, makes cups of tea.
Sounded like some 1700s inventor who's just found out the key to making
Eureka!
Steam! Yes, the biggest and arguably best video game distribution service on the net. Steam has been leading the charge when it comes to making Valve a lot of money. How big is Steam, you ask? Well, Steam had around 18.5 million concurrent users at once last year, earning over $4 billion from game sales alone.
So basically saying it's over 18 times more popular than Dota 2.
Yes!
Good to know, good to know.
And that's before we take a look at Valve's real moneymaker, microtransactions.
Oh, everyone's favorite.
He's my least favorite Valve employee.
right.
Michael Transactions.
Yes, while we like to paint Valve as the gods of gaming who can do no wrong, it's easy to forget that they include microtransactions in quite a few of their games now. Dota 2, Team Fortress 2, CSGO, and Portal 2 all have skin shops or loot crates for you to drop your cold, hard, cash on.
Wow.
Fancy a new hat for your scout? Or how about a lovely new butterfly knife to chop up the terrorists with? No worries, just put some cash on the store and maybe, just maybe, you'll get what you're looking for. Didn't get what you were looking for? No worries. Just get another crate and see if your luck is any better. You can already see how dangerous this can be.
Deadly.
Super deadly because you're all excited and you're like, oh, what's going to be in the crate?
Oh, but if I open another one, I could get this.
Escalating odds.
And let's not forget that it was this type of temptation that allowed YouTubers T Martin and Pro Syndicate to advertise a CSGO item gambling website that they partly owned, serenading gamers with the promise that they could get all the best items in the game using the site. They even said like, see guys, anyone can win big on CSGO Lotto. Just to really make people feel like they were one click away from all those juicy items that they really wanted. Sneaky
Scumbags.
And while we don't have any official numbers on microtransactions, Valve owns two massively popular free games, Team Fortress 2 and Dota 2, and so the idea of them earning more money than a Nigerian prince doesn't seem too far-fetched.
And so to cap off the celebration of all things Newell and old, get it, Gabe Newell?
We're not in the mood.
Alright, let's take a look at the future of Valve and where things might be headed for Lord Gaben and his holy flock. Valve are wasting no time whipping their out this year, as at the beginning of the year, they bought indie devs Campo Santo, known for their fantastic Firewatch, and the upcoming Valley of the Gods. Buying up another company shows that Valve aren't afraid to expand their creative talent and want to help smaller devs with funding.
No,
They want to make money.
they want to make money and they want to eat people.
It's true. Another studio that they've partnered up with is the film production company Bad Robot. Valve have teamed up with them in the past to promote Jar Jar Abrams' movie Super 8 by creating a short interactive experience, as well as working together on a Team Fortress 2 game mode called Pastime. Last we heard, J. Jonah Abrams was gonna make some Portal and Half-Life movies, while Gabe was gonna show off his knife collection? Maybe? I mean, it wasn't exactly clear, and since the meeting, there's been little to no news. Maybe they'll retcon Portal to be some kind of Cloverfield project? I don't know.
I'd be all over a Portal movie. That'd be really good.
Yeah, Portal movie and a Half-Life movie, sure.
Straight to Netflix.
Hell yeah.
But what are Valve doing themselves? Well, they're about to show the world of digital card games who's boss with the upcoming release of Artifact, a Dota 2 based card game developed with the help of Richard I Created Magic the Gathering Garfield. But I mean, aside from that, who the knows? Aside from updating their current games and making some cheeky VR experiences for the HTC Vive, they've kind of just been around with Steam.
And not very well. They took all my titty games away.
All fans want is a third entry into, well, I mean, honestly, just any of their franchises. But it seems that these days, Valve are only focused on monetary gain rather than actual gaming, despite what Gaben says.
Well guys, thanks for watching the video. I know you loved it because it had more character than a Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe and sign up to our Patreon, and we'll see you next time.